I mean, this deployment you did, you experienced 160 gunfights in 3 months. Am I correct?
No, 160 gunfights in one day on election day. That was in one 24-hour period. Our company group and satellite and call signs, 160 contacts recorded in one day. The elections.
In one day?
In one day. Which sounds impossible, but it wasn't. And we were handed, so when
Holy shit.
the back end of that tour, Shawn, we handed over to the US Marine Corps. And when that 3-7 combat team 3-7 or 3-5, I can't remember which one it was, but when the US Marine Corps came in, those boys were not fucking playing games. And it was good to see because they were like, we ain't doing courageous restraint. We're doing fucking extreme violence. And we were like, fuck yeah. But yeah, that
160
recorded contacts within a 24-hour period on election day. So right at the back, it was literally the last thing that we did on deployment. It was, they were having local elections, and it was the first time that they had local elections in Sangin since the Taliban took over, I imagine.
How do you even have enough ammo for that?
It was everywhere, all day, just all different. There was probably about 5 or 6 platoons on the ground, plus the patrol base itself, plus the main fob, and it was just all day, just sporadic, all day.
Were you getting resupplied?
So we were out in the field. So check this out, right? So they put recce platoon out as a blocking force. So we were like 400 meters away from the actual main patrol base itself. And again, when people talk about what it means to serve and what it means to serve the United States of America, and the bond that I've got, we fucking told them, dude, we said, do not go in that compound. We went out together. There's a US Marine Corps patrol and our patrol. Our job was to literally go out and provide a blocking service or a blocking screening service. And we fucking told them, do not fucking go. Badger 10, don't go in that compound. It's a known firing point. It's fucking rigged. Do not go there. And they were like, we got orders, brother. And I was like, do your thing. And they went out there and sure as fuck, they fucking got blown up, dude. There was like fucking 2 dead, I think, and 3 or 4 lost limbs. And initially we were just helping out on the Kazovac. I'll never forget, it was just like an endless supply of just fucking people just coming back on stretchers, and we were just doing what we could. Like, I fucking carried Marines off the battlefield, and they fucking come and got me when I really needed it on multiple occasions. Like, that US flag, when I had the fucking privilege of wearing that to war, means the world to me, Shawn. And I'd fucking die for that as soon as I'd die for my flag, you know? But those young lads, mate, those young lads, I was one too. You know, that was a fucking hard day. That was just the morning. That was before the whole thing fucking got going. I'll never forget it as well. We're in these cornfields, on these blocking positions. And it was like, you just see like 2s and 3s. The whole platoon had just been fucking decimated. It was like an IED went off, killed a bunch of dudes. Then the fucking Kazovac, the guys that went in to get them, they got fucking blown up. Then all hell broke loose. And it was just like, once we'd started to ferry the stretchers back, we went back to man our positions, and it was like something out of Jurassic Park, man. You see these fucking cornfields, and it was just like, you could see the leaves moving, you know, and we're on the guns like, I need to fucking, like, something's getting fucking shot in a minute. I'm fucking scared. Do you know what I mean? And a fucking squad would come out, or 2 or 3 guys, and just be like, have you seen, like, you know, this guy or that platoon? And we're like, where the fuck have you been, bro? And he's like, your guys are back there. And I was like, okay, cool. And they just run out. 10 minutes later, there'd be like a lone Marine just coming out the fucking cornfield. You're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on over there, but this is not a good spot for him to be in. And yeah, we just fucking hunkered down. That was the first time I got properly mortared as well. Like, people talk about, oh, you know, I watched. I think you'll find a generational difference between GWAT guys that didn't do conventional tours and guys that did do conventional tours. Like, I know the difference between being mortared and properly being mortared, like, poof, in front of you, like 50 meters, 60 meters, which is fucking close for an 81 or whatever they're using. Then one comes behind you, you're like, okay, cool. We're being bracketed. The next one's fucking coming into our position, and sure as fuck, we're in this field getting mortared. And it's like, that's no joke. Like, we're in a fucking field. There is no cover. And troop sergeants like, fucking dig in. And we're like, what? What is this? The fucking, you know what I mean? Is this Iwo Jima? Like, I didn't think war fucking fighting was like this. Do you know what I mean? This was not what we were fucking used to doing. So sure as fuck, we dug shell scrapes, and I've got some great pictures of it. All the boys in shell scrapes, and we fucking dug shell scrapes. And then we started getting more.
What do you mean shell scrapes?
Like a small hole in the ground to lie into, basically, just below subsurface, so that if it does detonate, it goes at ground level and you're just underneath it. The first ones we did were quite shallow, but when we started to get incoming accurate mortar fire, we were like, oh shit, we need to fucking dig these in a bit deeper. And I'll never forget, like, me and this guy Gaz, we were sat in this shell scrape line, and they're just laughing. Like, we're going home in 2 days. The election day, the whole day that I'm talking about, was literally the last thing that we did. And it was like, I cannot fucking believe after 6 months we're in this fucking hole in this field getting fucking mortared. It's like, come on, do you know what I mean? This is no joke. But I'll remember it again, goes back to the thing of respecting the US military. We had a cowboy call sign, it was a Cobra and a Huey pair, and they were fucking smashing the mortar point. And we're in this shell scrape in this cornfield, just fucking hunkered down, getting mortared, and this fucking helicopter comes over with its partner, and they just fucking strafing, just like rockets, 12.7 millimeter rockets or whatever they are, fucking 30 mic, whatever they got on there, and the fucking shells are landing all around us, and we're just laughing at each other at this point. We're just like, fuck me, dude, like, this is fucking cool, but it's not cool, if you know what I mean. It's like, but we liked it. We're Marines, it's what we're supposed to be doing, you know. But yeah, if it weren't for those dudes turning up that day, fuck knows what would have happened. But that was the end of a really, really severe tour. And I'll tell you what, the worst thing, the worst thing for us, mate, was that every single time an ID went off, it was a fucking good chance it was somebody you knew, you know? Like, and that radio never fucking, in 80 days, I think it was like something like 82 days or whatever it was, we lost 14 people. And they were all the same guys. We knew everybody. We were a recce troop, you know, we knew everyone. And it was like, you hear the fucking blast, man. They're so close, you feel it, that fucking awful sound, and you're just like, okay, cool. And then the radio, it's like, yeah, contact ID. And then it's like the state of the casualties, like what tier they are. You hear the miss reports coming on, and it's like, you're just listening out for that ZAP number. You're like, I know a guy in 6th Troop. And you're just like, you're just listening for that ZAP number. You're just listening for that fucking name and just being like, is it him? And it might not affect you that day because it might not be somebody, but then you see a guy in the corner of the patrol base and he's just fucking in floods of tears because that was his best mate, you know? That was his fucking mate. So yeah, we were surrounded, man. We were fucking in a bad spot. And it was heartbreaking to watch and feel and listen to it. And that fucking radio never stopped, man. It never stopped. And I just wanted to go home. Before I deployed, my daughter was 2 weeks old. 2 weeks old. I remember just as we got to Camp Bastion, before we flew out to that patrol base, there were 2 guys that were from 4-5 Commando that had done exactly what I did. And
I'm excited to introduce to you the newest member of my family. We call him Stanley. We got Stanley this past Christmas, and pretty quickly my focus became making sure he was safe while still giving him the freedom to actually be a dog. I went looking for the top-rated GPS fence, the #1, and that's how I found Spot On. Stanley wears their Nova collar. With Spot On, I set up a GPS fence for Stanley right on my phone. No physical fence, no leash. I just walk my property line or draw it on the map, and that's the boundary the collar recognizes. I can create multiple fences, save them, and adjust them whenever I need to. So whether we're at home or traveling, Stanley always knows where his boundaries are. Another thing that stood out to me is these collars are designed right here in the USA and assembled in New Hampshire by a team that's been working with high-precision GPS technology for years. And you can tell a lot of attention went into making this thing reliable. The Nova collar uses a dual-band GPS system connected to more than 150 satellites, along with an antenna that's over 5 times larger than typical GPS fence collars. That keeps the boundary accurate, even around trees, terrain, and changing conditions. Spot On's true location technology has been independently tested and delivers 99.3% containment, which matters when you're trusting something with your dog's safety. It's incredibly durable, and on top of that, I can check his location in real time, send voice commands directly to the collar, and track his activity through the day. I use Spot On so Stanley gets the freedom to run and explore, and I get the peace of mind knowing he's safe. Let your dog roam with Spot On. Go to spotonfence.com/SRS and use code SRS for $50 off the Nova collar. That's spotonfence.com/SRS and use code SRS for $50 off.
they went to 40 Commando 2, and I remember I didn't even know these guys, man. And we were sat eating our fucking lunch, doing the pre-deployment training that you do in theatre, like zeroing weapons and fucking all this bullshit, getting briefs and all this fucking stuff, ROE briefs, whatever. And there was just 3 of us in this basically in this fucking shell of a compound having lunch. And it was like, oh, I was at 4-5. I was like, oh fuck, I was at 4-5, and there was 3 of us. I'm the only one that came home. They fucking both died, you know. And it's like, fuck. Brand new baby, 2 weeks old. Like, the writing's on the wall. I'm like, I'm not coming back from this deployment. I'd given up. I knew it was coming. Like, I'm not a super religious man, Shawn, but every time I left that fucking patrol base, I prayed, because it doesn't matter how good you are. We were getting fucking ripped apart. And it was fucking dangerous, and it was scary, and I was fucking scared. I was scared for 6 months. And then it's like, one of the most significant things that's ever happened to me in my military career is I was about, from me to that wall away, when an IED blast went off from my troop commander lost both his legs and an arm. I was the first guy to get to him. And there's a protocol for this. You're supposed to do the metal detector shit and go up to it and, you know, make sure there's no. I just fucking ran straight to him and just started putting tourniquets on him. And I was just like, I remember his eyes. I was up at his head. Tom, the medic, was working on him, and I was just holding him. I had a flashlight on. It was early on in the morning. It's a fucking 400 meter patrol, Shawn. We were down at 400 meters. Do you know what we were doing? Do you know what they made us do? They made us fucking hand out a radio. He lost both his legs and an arm to hand out a fucking wind-up radio to a local that we thought was friendly. Hearts and minds, they said. So we go out at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning, near pitch back in a fucking minefield, and he loses his arms and his legs for a fucking radio, you know? I was so angry, mate. I was so fucking angry. And I remember looking at him, and I remember him trying to close his eyes, and I was saying, John, just fucking look at me. And I put this fucking flashlight in his face, and I'm just like, do not fucking close your eyes. Do not fucking close your eyes. And we got him out, and he's still, he's like fucking incredible. He's got kids. He's got a fucking life. He's a fucking incredible kayaker. He's represented his country in that. He's got this fucking incredible story. He goes around the country motivating people. Like, what a fucking hero. What a fucking rock star. But I'll never forgive them for putting us in those positions. Because it's like, we know this is bullshit. Why the fuck are we going out there, you know? And yeah, that there made me fucking angry. I was like, nah, I'm coming back. Like, a lot of people went the other way. Most people left the Marines after that deployment. I didn't. Maybe there's something fucking wrong with me, but I was like, nah, I'm fucking joining the Special Forces. I want to be fucking part of that. And one of the main reasons for that was halfway through, because we were getting smashed, the squadron, the regiment squadron, D squadron, sent a guy out to our position to give us fire support, to bring the assets, so he embedded himself with our troop. And this guy was like an older guy, super wiry, northern, not what you'd expect a regiment guy to look like, but fuck me, he was the most impressive fucking person I'd ever met. He was like a fucking superstar. You don't come across regiment guys, especially not if you're in the Marines. It's not something that you don't operate together. And he came into those patrol bases and he wore the same fucking kit that we wore, with no airs and graces. You'd be like, he's a sergeant in the fucking regiment, and I'm a Marine, a 2IC of a troop, and I'm doing like lists for who has to go on sentry. And he's like, what time do you want me on? And I'm like, what? Like, you don't have to do this. He's like, no, put me on there, 2 to 3. 2 o'clock in the morning, he's out there in the fucking sentry position doing it. Came on every patrol. He's like, give me some link, give me a battery. And I was like, fucking hell, he did not need to do that. He did not have to do that. But I was like, that's the gold standard. That's the fucking epitome of what I think a fucking regiment guy should be like. And it's quite a nice story. He gave me a recruitment brief in the main patrol base back in Sangin. And it was for Hereford. And typically Royal Marines don't go to Hereford, they go to Poole, the SBS. So they don't go to the SAS, they go to SBS, typically, not always. But I always wanted to join the regiment. I'd always been fascinated by the regiment since I watched a VHS copy of the Iranian embassy siege from my dad, actually, when I was about 10 years old. That was the first time I'd ever really seen it. And I was like, what the fuck? The dude's on the balcony with the gas masks. I was like, whatever that is, I want that. But it's the first time I've ever met one in the flesh. And he's a fucking rock star, And he gave me the recruitment brief, and I remember I went back to my chew on my accommodation. I packed a Bergen with 55 pounds, which is test weight, and I did a CFT, which is an 8-miler basically, just perimetered the thing. Just kept doing that and doing that. From that moment on, I was like, I'm going on selection. And I've heard somebody else say this, and it must be a fairly common thing, but I remember sitting one night on one of those sentry positions and it was fucking super late and I hear 247s go into the green zone. And you know what a 47 sounds like? And I was like, well, that's not us. And that's our fucking AO, so what the fuck is it? And then all hell breaks loose. You hear the fucking gunship going and all kinds of bullshit. And then 2-3 hours, fucking 247s come in and they fly away. And I was like, got back off and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, that's just one of the squadrons gone and done an offensive action on a target.
Just for everybody listening, 47s are dual rotor helicopters.
Yeah, the Chinooks, the CH-47s, you know, the big fat ones, you know, with the double thing. Sorry, yeah, but yeah. So I was like, okay, these people are getting after it. Do you know what I felt in that deployment when they're fucking helpless? I felt helpless. I was like, just fucking wandering around in minefields, fucking watching people get blown in half. It's like, I wanted to affect it. And the only place that I could affect it was, what it felt like was to go on selection and join the squadron.
How did you adjust your mindset from the beginning of that deployment to the end to deal with all that?
I didn't deal with it. I just boxed it up. Just fucking compartmentalize it. That's all I could do. And it wasn't... 10 years down the line, it fucking blew up. I got blown up again, another suicide bomber, and I was actually with C Squadron at the time. From the
Delta.
unit, yeah. I was attached to them for a year. And I remember getting blown up one night, side of a building, watching my whole team basically just get fucking... Whole building went on top of them. I was fucking for sure everyone was dead. Turns out that everyone survived. It was one of those fucking Pulp Fiction moments, you know? I mean, talk about that in a bit more detail later, but like that blew the lid off the fucking box, basically. Like that, after that, I just unraveled, slowly but surely unraveled to the point of... Yeah... to a fucking dark place. But for 10 years, I just didn't look, forgot about it, just carried on, just keep going. One more deployment, one more deployment, one more deployment. Just keep putting it in a box, put it in a box, put it in a box. Box gets full, box breaks. I broke. But yeah, to answer your question, I didn't deal with it. I just fucking carried on. What else got to do? Like, I kept running. I kept running because I knew if I stopped and looked back, I'd never stop, never start again, you know? I came back from that deployment and it's like, even coming back on R&R, man, I went back to the main patrol base and a dear friend of mine who I was in training with, we were recruits together, a guy called Rian, everyone calls him Twiggy, dead skinny guy, but he was a machine gunner. He was a fucking, you know what I mean? He was a good machine gunner. I remember our patrol base, you had to go back to the big base because that's where the helicopters were, and that's how you flew back and went on R&R. So I was out of my patrol base and into the big base, relieved as fuck. 4 months into the deployment, handed in all the fucking necessary equipment. I've just got basic ammunition, my rifle, about to fly, and in 24 hours I'm home in the UK with my brand new daughter that I've fucking spent 2 weeks with, right? And they go out on patrol, and we're sat in the sort of chow hall, which was a tent, and the first one goes off, boom, and you're like, yeah, that's a fucking IED. And then everyone's up, QRF are out, the fucking whole place is going, and we're on R&R, so we've not really got a job to do at this point. And I was with a couple of other guys, and we were like, fuck it, let's get our body armor on and get on the wall. Everyone's on the wall now. Everyone's shooting from the wall. We're trying to provide fire support. About a couple of minutes later, boom, second one goes off. This was a joint patrol, US Marine Corps, and guys from Charlie Company. And they went out, first IED struck command wire. They waited for the guys to come in and try and recover the casualties, and then they fucking pulled the next one. So we lost 2 guys that day, a US Marine and a guy called Jonathan Crooks.
No matter where you're watching the Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this at all, anything, please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, head to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a review.